USA Radio News with Chris Barnes.
There are some encouraging numbers coming back concerning coronavirus in the United States, as the White House Coronavirus Task Force says cases are starting to stabilize, including in various states and metro areas which had been epicenters. Response Coordinator Dr. Deborah Burke saying each hotspot is being addressed individually.
We talk about these as micro epidemics in metro areas and in rural areas.
There's a Farm Aid show this Saturday. John Mellencamp, Neil Young, Dave Matthews joining Willie Nelson for a streaming Farm Aid concert. The stars will perform Saturday from their homes for the digital concert, which will raise funds and awareness for farmers impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And you're listening to USA Radio News.
If your credit card bills have gotten out of hand and you care about your credit, call Consolidated Credit now. If the interest rates on your credit cards are so high, it'll take years to get out of debt. Call Consolidated Credit now. They've helped over 6 million people with credit card debt. Without destroying your credit, they can consolidate your debts into one lower payment, reduce your interest rates, and get you out of debt fast. The program works. Call Consolidated Credit now. Call 800-406-0046. 800-406-0046. That's 800-406-0046. Consolidated Credit Counseling Services, Inc., 5701 West Sunrise Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33313. Licensed by the New York Department of Financial Services and by the Vermont Department of Financial Regulation. Maryland DM 1492, Oregon DM 80092. Licensed by the Virginia State Corporation. Commission license number DC 83. Service may adversely affect the individual's credit. Non-payment of debt may lead to additional finance charges or collections activity, including legal action, not a loan company.
Syrian forces alleged to have carried out a chemical weapons attack. Here's USA Radio's Wendy King.
Syria's Assad regime used sarin and chlorine gas in 3 attacks on opposition forces in March, a chemical weapons oversight group said in a report that was just released. The Organization for the Prevention of Chemical Weapons said the Syrian Air Force bombed the town of Latamina using sarin gas on March 24th and 25th. In the third attack on March 30th, the Air Force carried out a chlorine gas attack on the same town. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said the U.S. shares its conclusions that Syria retains sufficient chemicals and expertise to not only produce these type of weapons, but also to deploy them.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson is said to be getting better after a third night in intensive care for coronavirus. A spokesman says that Johnson is in stable condition, improving, and was sitting up joking with medical staff. This is USA Radio News.
Here's your Georgetown forecast from the Hip Radio Network Weather Center. Highs level off around 84 today. Under cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms likely. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows level off around 58. Overcast skies. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun tomorrow. Chance for scattered rain showers. Highs around 72. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Frobley. Currently, it's 72 degrees.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The switch is on. Welcome to Good Morning Georgetown with Rob and Ken. Waking you up in the mornings and getting your day started with the hottest hits, news, and jokes. Get ready. And now here's your hosts, Rob Hip and Ken Covington.
Coming to you live this morning. We are alive and well on a Thursday. We got through Wednesday. We're on a Thursday here in Georgetown, Texas. On Good Morning Georgetown, I want to welcome everybody into the show, and thanks for joining us here this morning. Time now 7:38 a.m. Again, it is Thursday. Thanks, everybody. If you're on Facebook Live, we'd love to hear from you this morning. Say hello, and we'll get to you here in a little bit. If you are on the HRN app, feel free to say hello to us as well, and we'll get to you also. You can always text us at 512-686-2030. I had Ken Covington on yesterday as our Wednesday co-host, and Ken was singing the phone number to us. He was singing it to us. He was. Hey, awesome. I've got a good friend this morning, our Wednesday co-host or Thursday co-host here on Hip Radio Network, Georgetown. Chris Courtney, what's going on? Chris, I got you, man. Come on, baby.
Oh, nothing much. Just, living the dream, getting out there, doing my job.
How's business been over the last week? It's been a week since we've talked to you. What's going on, man?
Still busy. I'm still getting calls. Had 7 this week. Have one right after this. So
that is amazing. 7.
Yeah, people are still buying
Wow.
houses, and we're still getting calls.
Man, that's good. That is excellent, excellent. But that goes a lot to talk about your business too, man, because you started, under 2 years ago? Has it been 2 years yet?
It will be 2 years, June 1st.
2 years already. Dude, time goes way too fast.
It goes faster the older we get, too.
I was reading a post from a friend in high school, and she posted something that said, in 10 years, I will be 46 years old, and my kids will be 22 and 14 or something like that. And I was like, oh, my gosh, that's right. In 10 years, I'll be 46 years old. That's scary, man.
10 years, I'll be 59.
Dude, let's just end the show right now because that just totally ruined my Man, what happens with time? Why do you think time goes so fast, Chris Courtney?
Kids, I don't know. It just the older you get, the faster it goes. I think the younger you are, you don't have an actual good sense of how fast time can move.
No, man.
And the older you get, the more responsibilities you get, the more stress, and it just goes by too fast.
I think you hit the nail on top. Dude, I'm so bad at it. I don't even know what they're called, like analogies or whatever it is. I was like, you hit the word on the nail. That doesn't make sense.
Hit the head on the nail.
Yeah, I almost said you hit the word right on the nail. That's why our listenership is bottomed out. Our listenership is whoa, easy there, Chris. I don't want any virtual COVID-19 coming this way.
Right.
All right, man. Hey, anyways, want to welcome everybody in this morning. I hope you are doing wonderful here in Georgetown, Texas. Chris, I was reading just now, why does time feel like it's flying by, and how do we slow it down? That's why I love having a co-host with me, because I would never have talked about this morning. This, back in 2015, lifehacker.com, an article by Kristen Wong, she wrote this. Our parents warned us about it, but it's hard to understand until you experience it firsthand. As you get older, time seems to fly by. It catches you off guard, probably because it's such a powerful and bizarre concept. You can't add more time to the clock, but by understanding how this phenomenon works, you can at least try to make it seem like it's passing by a little bit slower. How do you think that you could help it be slower, Chris? What would you say?
Oh, I usually go camping.
Hey, I like that. Hey, and what does camping do? What does camping
slows you down?
But what else does it do?
Something gets you away from the stress.
Boom! There it is.
Yeah.
Get you away from the stress. There it is. In a study published by Ammon Scientific, never heard of them, stress and quote-unquote time pressure speed up the day. Researchers asked subjects how quickly the felt time was passing from very slow to very fast. They also asked, it's one of those funny words, if you actually enunciate the K, they also asked them to rate the accuracy of statements. It's just funny. I don't know why. They also asked them to rate the accuracy of statements used to describe how quickly time was passing. Long story short, they found that most subjects reported that time passes by so fast because we have so much to do and not enough time in which to do everything. Researchers call this time pressure, and it goes hand in hand with stress. It makes sense considering the other theories too. The more stressed we are, the less likely we are to be focused and present on the moment. We're just trying to get through the day as quickly as possible. When we do that, we don't have to take in our surroundings and build detailed memories. Thus, our perception of time flies. I'm glad that I asked you that question, Chris. So there you go. Get rid of the stress. That's easier
right.
said. Go camping on the weekends.
Quit your job.
Yeah, just quit.
Get rid of the kids.
Give up on bills. Just do it. Whatever.
Maybe Ted Kaczynski had it right. Just go live in the woods out in the middle of nowhere.
Live in the woods.
I mean,
man.
Not the bombing part, but
live in the woods.
Just go live out in the middle of nowhere.
Live in the middle of nowhere. Here's another way. What is another way, Chris, that you think you could do to limit stress, not to limit stress, but to make time go by faster? What's another way that you got cranking this morning?
You're asking me how to make time go by faster?
No, slow. What did I say? Make it go by slower. How do you make it go by slower? Want it to go by faster, just start drinking every single day, and then all of a sudden you wake up 10 years later and you're like, what happened? Slow it down, Chris. Where you at? You got it, dude. Come on. Dig in there. Dig in there deep.
I dig in there deep, huh? What do I do to slow down time?
You went camping. What else do you got going on?
I sit out back and have a glass of whiskey and a cigar. That makes me slow down.
Dude, that's it, man. Okay, well, that helps you focus on mindfulness. If the theory mindfulness, that could help you focus on mindfulness. Because you're thinking while you're thinking, I'm just a drinking, and now I'm thinking. If the theory here's some more here. If the theory that we experience time in relation to our years alive carries any weight, it makes sense that a way to curb it might be to stop comparing our present time with our entire life. In other words, live in the moment. So when you're having a nice old whiskey and a good old cigar, you're living in the moment, baby. Come on, baby. Mm-hmm. When you focused on the present, you're thinking about the absolute, not relative value of time, and there are a few ways to go about this. Meditation can help you slow down and focus. It also comes with a lot of other scientific benefits that we won't get into. And you don't have to be deeply spiritual or religious to meditate either. It's as simple as finding a quiet spot, counting to 10, and focusing on your breath. I meditate while I do the dishes. Here we go, Chris, the first time ever on Good Morning Georgetown. Everybody join in. We're going to count to 5. We're going to close our eyes. We're going to breathe in. And we're going to meditate this morning. Here we go. Oh, Chris, that was a really good meditation right there, Chris. I took you off full screen because I don't want the weight of Chris Courtney to be on everybody this morning, okay? This is for each of us. Here we go. I want everybody out there, if you're listening, if you're watching. Here we go. Breathe deep in. Did you hear that? That was a deep breath. Here we go. Count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those birds are adding a nice effect, by the way. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Dude, I'm not going to lie. That just felt great, man. I'm going to shut the show off, and I'm going to meditate the rest of the day. That felt great.
I'll meditate my way through my inspection.
Yeah, just meditate through the inspection. Sir, what are you doing? Yum, yum. Look, man, I speak to the walls, and the walls speak back to me, okay? Hey, I got a question. Our home inspectors, I saw someone post this morning, and I don't want to comment on it, but home inspectors are not it's not our job to, I guess if we found a gas leak, yeah, but we're not required to find gas leaks, are we? Or are you?
No. Well, you got to remember, home inspectors do not have to buy any specialized tools to do their job. A home inspection, by the terms of TREC and the SOP, it's a non-invasive home inspection.
Okay.
And if you smell gas, and the only reason gas smells is because they actually add an additive to the gas, so you can smell it.
Huh.
So if you smell gas, then yes, you're supposed to report it and put it in your report and notify the owner. And if it's a big gas leak, you're supposed to, vacate and call the gas company or 911
and get out of there.
But I do have a gas sniffer, and I have found gas leaks which I couldn't smell.
Huh, okay. Yeah, because someone had posted, we're required to test for leaks and all that. And I'm like, I don't think you're required to test for leaks. And
you're required to report a leak if you come across one.
They said we're required to test for leaks. I was like, that's not accurate. That's not right. No. We don't have to go in it. But if we smell gas... And I say we. Here's why I say we, for those that are just joining us. I took a home inspection course. I never look, that's how I met Chris Courtney. I say we. I'm not a home inspector. Let me get that out of there right away. Chris Courtney is the expert. For some reason, my mental brain can't. I want to go in and microscope every little thing. And even the guy who trained me, he's like, Rob, you're a good dude, but you just think too hard on this stuff, man. He's like, we can do a great job, but you don't need to go and nitpick every little pinhole in a wall. And I don't know what it is. This is my brain can't. That's why we got guys that are professionals like Chris Courtney who know what to look for and what not to look for. Because there's things in a home inspection that you don't have to look for, like how many pinholes are in the wall from a thumbtack. That's cosmetic.
Right. Well, back to the gas leak thing. If we were required to test for leaks, we would have to test every single pipe joint.
Yeah.
And that's not accessible.
Yeah, it was just weird. I just saw that, and I said, that is not accurate. You're not required to test for leaks. Here's a weird thing. I'm going to tell you something, man. I had the weirdest dream last night. The most strangest dream I've ever had in my life. It was in knock on wood, and God forbid, I hope this doesn't happen, but my parents' house had caught on fire, and I have no idea why I dreamed this. And it was really weird because the stove was like completely charred, but my mom hadn't got rid of it because it still worked. And it was so strange because there was just random things in the house that were charred to a crisp, but the house was still okay. The strangest and I never remember my dreams at all, Chris. And then I had another
premonition.
Dude, I remembered 2 dreams from last night.
Call your mom and dad.
No,
Tell them to check for the gas.
Well, they don't have gas, so thank goodness for that. But the other dream that I had last night was a funeral. And I'm not going to say, it was someone that I know, but they're fine. But it was a funeral that I was at, and there was a bartender at the funeral. It was an open casket funeral, and right next to the open casket was a bartender serving drinks and selling them. Why on earth would I have a dream about an open casket funeral with a bartender right next to the open casket with a bar top, by the way, Chris?
I'll tell you why. Because the longer you're cooped up in your house and you can't get out into reality, the weirder your dreams are going to be at night because your mind wants to go and wander.
Well, I don't even drink any. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a subconscious, like trying to remind me of the olden Rob days, man.
Right?
But, yeah, I was just like, why on earth am I dreaming about an open casket funeral and a bartender? And then the funeral home director came in. This was at a funeral home, by the way. The funeral home director came in and told, and I have no idea who the bartender was. I think, I don't know. I don't know if your brain generates imagery as far as, like a sketch artist that draws a criminal or whatever. If your brain somehow generates a person in a dream randomly, or if it's someone that you may have seen once and somehow your brain redoes that,
Right. Yeah.
I've always wondered that. Does your brain generate random people that you've never seen, or does it regenerate?
Always use somebody you've seen,
even if it was one time.
Right.
Yeah. So the bartender, I have no idea who the bartender was. Never seen that person in my life ever.
We need to find Agent Smith.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But the funeral home director came in and he goes, "You cannot serve drinks at a funeral." Well, number one, why did they even let him set up a bar top next to the casket to begin with? Man, I'm telling you, dude, I just have no idea why I think, you know what it was? I was watching Forensic Files 2 last night is what it was before I went to sleep.
There you go.
That's what did it, man.
Yeah.
So anyways, what's the craziest dream that you can talk about over the radio, family friendly, that you've ever had? You don't.
Well, I will tell you, as a child, I had a reoccurring dream that was the same dream every time. And it was terrifying. I was in a white room, blank emptiness of white, no walls, no end, no nothing. And a big, huge spiked ball was chasing me.
In a room?
That was it.
And did it ever get you, or did you just keep on?
It never
going?
got me, but it got close. But it was a reoccurring dream. It happened a lot when I was a kid.
The spiked ball.
I mean,
chasing
giant.
you.
I'm talking like 8 foot with big pointy spikes like needles all over it, rolling around trying to get me in the big white empty of nothing.
Were you born a little bit before Atari?
I was born in 1971.
So Atari, so you're about 10 years old. Atari started getting rolling. You're about 12 or 13 probably, right?
Yeah.
Were you having this dream when you were like 12 or 13?
No, it was before that.
Okay. I was going to say maybe Atari game did it to you. You never know.
Yeah, right.
I was thinking Mario 3.
I think it was other things. So
I was thinking Super Mario Brothers 3, but that was way ahead, because there were spiked balls that chase you in that game. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was way before that.
The craziest, goofiest dream that I ever had, and it was a reoccurring dream. Hey, if you're on Facebook Live, why don't you share your dreams with us? That's what we're doing this morning. We did meditation, and now we're doing a dream share this morning. Let us know what your dreams are. You know, the craziest dream that I ever had, Chris, that was a reoccurring dream. I may have talked about it years ago on this show. I'm bringing it back, baby. Here we go. I used to be terrified when I was a kid of the toilet. I was straight up terrified. You think that seriously? Has anybody else out there growing up, were you terrified of the toilet? If you look at a toilet from the side, it looks like it has teeth in it because where the seat comes down, it's got the little stop, you know, the little, I don't know what it is, but the little riser thing so the seat doesn't go all the way flush with the porcelain, whatever. So I always thought when I was a kid the thing was alive and it had teeth because, you know, when you're a kid, you're a lot shorter and you can see that. Now, if you're an adult, you don't get down like eye level with the toilet seat and examine it. As a kid, you do. And I had this crazy reoccurring dream that I was in this toilet pet shop. It was a pet shop full of toilets, different sizes. This is crazy, man. People are going to be calling somebody to help me out after this show. They're going to be calling a psychologist, be like, what is going on with this dude? I had a dream of a toilet pet shop, and there was toilets of all sizes, and there was little toilets that were in cages, Chris, like birds. I'm not making this up. And you know, back in the day, the old school way of toilets was everybody had like a cloth covering over the lid. Like I'm talking like a fluffy
crochet.
Yeah, seriously, like stuff like
macrame.
That.
Yeah.
And real fluff. No one does that anymore. At least I haven't seen it. But real fluffy. My mom had this really fluffy, like navy blue toilet cover over the seat.
Right. Yeah.
And I dreamed about that on this little toilet that was in a cage. And I remember putting my finger in the cage, and it bit my finger off. I don't know what's going on.
You all right? Are you okay, Rob?
Dude, I had that dream probably 30 times in my life growing up, and I vividly remember that dream. So, toilet pet shop.
That's strange.
Toilet pet shop coming your way here on Good Morning Georgetown. Well, Chris, we got some good news this morning. The British Prime Minister has been in ICU now for 3 days. They're saying that he's up and joking around now. That has been a very serious situation, not just with Boris Johnson, but so many other people here and across the world. And he's in stable condition in ICU. But, man, I'm just telling you, you know, you wonder who is leading the UK right now. We're not over there. Who's leading the UK right now?
I have no clue.
No idea.
No idea. The Parliament, probably.
Yeah, I don't understand.
They probably have their systems in place just like we do.
I didn't spend a lot of time focusing on. I love history, man. I really do. But I remember growing up in school, I can't really remember much about history. And I hate that. What was your favorite subject in school, Chris?
In school?
Yeah.
It depends. No, it all had to depend on the teacher. Like I had one year that English literature was my favorite class because the teacher was so awesome. Another year was social studies. Another year, economics. And it was just because of the teacher, and they knew how to teach. And I grew up with a learning disability, dyslexia, so it was even harder for me. And when the teachers took the time to teach you right and to your disability, it just made it that much easier and that much funner.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You know, to have teachers that are there and they focus on your needs. You know, I always say, and I've said it on the show 100 times, man, that I have so much respect for teachers. I would not be where I'm at today, wherever that may be. But I'm just saying I would not be where I'm at today without teachers, because I still to this day have a heart for a lot of my teachers that I grew up in school with. I remember them. In fact, I connect with my kindergarten teacher once a week, or at least once every couple of weeks on Facebook. We chat, and she was my kindergarten teacher, man.
That's awesome.
So,
teachers are some of the most influential people in our country with our kids, and they don't get paid enough.
And they don't get talked about a whole lot either from the awesome work that they do. One of the biggest influences that I had in my high school career was my librarian, Miss Robin Morrow, and just love her dearly. She is a tremendous lady, And she always believed in me, and so it doesn't just have to be like a homeroom teacher or a subject teacher. For me,
no,
it was my librarian, and I still talk to her to this day.
That's awesome. I should try and reconnect with some of my old teachers.
Yeah, dude, that is the challenge for today. For those of you that are on the show this morning, that is the challenge today. I don't care how young you are or how old you are. Look up your teacher and say hello to him this morning or sometime today. Can you do that? Can you just look up a teacher and say hello to him and reconnect
I'll have to get
with
my
the
old
teacher?
yearbooks out.
Try it, though, man. I found my English teacher I haven't said hello to her yet, but she popped up, and I added her as a friend on Facebook. But it was my English teacher in junior high. We're friends on Facebook now. I need to say hello to her. I remembered her. That's awesome. She was a cheerleading coach also. And it's just cool. That's what I love about the power of social media, Chris, is you never know who's going to pop up. Now, sometimes you don't want them to pop up. You're like, oh, whoa,
no.
Get rid of that one. Whoa, watch out now. But it's cool.
So have you been keeping up on the benefits of what's going on today in the world of the pollution and air quality health?
Oh, man, you talk about India. Is that what you're referring to in India?
I'm talking about all over the world. The air quality has improved anywhere from 20 to 50%.
People now can see the Himalayas.
Right.
They have not been able to see the Himalayas
for 30 years.
Decades. Okay?
Yep.
There are pictures popping up all over Twitter from people that live 200 plus miles away. Chris, 200 plus miles away that can see the mountain ranges now. Some of them, of course, never seen it in their lifetime, and now they're seeing it.
They're probably going, what is that?
Yeah, man.
I think even though this is bad for us and they're putting us in a lot of stress, maybe this is a good thing that is going to come out of it. Is Mother Earth is getting a breath of fresh air. She's letting out a big sigh and taking in a big deep breath, fresh air, and maybe we'll learn from this.
I'm going to pull up a picture. Now, if you're on the audio only, you're not going to be able to see this. And, Chris, you're not going to be able to see it there on your end just from where we're at. But it's on Twitter. If you have Twitter, just look up this user. It is Deewalia, Deewalia. That is Deewalia on Twitter. And for those of you on the Facebook stream this morning, you're going to get a special treat because I'm going to pull up this picture here, and it may take me just a second. I'm going to pull up a picture and show you.
Look how clear my skin's gotten.
Yeah, Chris, you could start modeling, honestly. Come on, man. Chris Courtney going to start modeling for us now. Not for us, but I'm trying to find this, and of course, now that I'm trying to find it, it's not going to come up here because it saved it as some weird file format that I've never heard of. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Here we go. So if you're on the Facebook, I'm going to show you this here in just a second. Let me transform this, rotate. I got to rotate this here, Chris. Rotate it right. It's upside down. Man, see, I always talk about it'd be so awesome one day if we get enough revenue here at HRN, one day I'm going to hire a producer that'll do all this for me so I can focus on talking and all that fun stuff. But here we go. I'm going to show this on the screen. If you're on Facebook, did I say YouTube? If you're on Facebook, this is a picture from Deewalia on Twitter, April the 3rd. So this was, 6 days ago. And she wrote, "What nature really is and how we screwed it up." This is the Dhaladar mountain range of Himachal, visible after 30 years from Janlohar, Punjab, after pollution drops to its lowest level. She posted this picture and said this is approximately 200 kilometers away. So just to give you an idea, that is actually 124 miles. So I said 200 miles. I was wrong. It's actually 124 miles away. That is farther than Georgetown to San Antonio, Texas, which is unbelievable. Look at that. There is a picture. If you're on Facebook, you'll see it. If you're on the audio only, we're showing a picture of a village, and way in the distant horizon is a mountain range that people haven't seen in 30 years because the pollution has cleared out. That is unbelievable.
Is that amazing?
Unbelievable.
I think the world should wake up and say, hey, we need to not be like enclosed in our homes all the time, but maybe really think about where we really need to go and what we really need to do.
Yeah, and I mean,
I don't know.
You being on this morning and the birds chirping in the background is making this one of the most meditative, relaxing shows that we've ever had here on Good Morning Georgetown. So I just wanted to say thanks for the birds this morning, Chris.
Hey, you're welcome.
How is that happening, by the way? You told me earlier. We're hearing birds in the background, which is cool. How is that happening?
I'm in my garage with the garage door open.
And are you looking like, is it sunshiny? I mean, what's the current conditions out there?
Partly cloudy, a little breezy, probably about 70 degrees. It's nice out.
Beautiful
right now.
Man. I had to shut the door here to the studio. A lot of mornings I'll leave the door open. I had to shut the door this morning because it is a little muggy outside, though.
It is,
and it was warm in here because I had all the equipment on overnight. And when I walked in here this morning, I was like, "Oh, baby, it is a little toasty up in here." Hey, we're going to step aside and take a break. It's after 8 o'clock. We always take a break at 8 and 8:30. We'll step aside just for a few moments. You are listening to Good Morning Georgetown here on KHGTDB. It's Hip Radio Network, Georgetown's hometown station. We'll be right back. We've got something really important. We don't have a special guest today, but we have something very important that we're going to talk about coming up here after the break. Stay with us, friends. We'll be right back here in just a few moments.
Georgetown forecast from the Hip Radio Network Weather Center. Highs level off around 84 today. Under cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms likely. Northwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance for scattered storms tonight. Lows level off around 58. Overcast skies. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun tomorrow. Chance for scattered rain showers. Highs around 72. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Frobley. Currently, it's 72 degrees.
All right, friends, put in a good dip. Bring out a great cigar. Take a shot of whiskey. Get your day started the right way here on Good Morning Georgetown. Little country to get you going. I'm just kidding. Don't do any of that. It's too early, first of all. Here we go. Chris, I got this. Chris, are you there? You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm going to write I feel like singing again this morning, but I just don't know what to sing about, Chris. I'm just kidding. You know, we'll stop that.
Have a cigar and a whiskey in the morning.
That's about enough of that this morning. Good morning, Georgetown. I hope everybody's doing great. Time now is 8:06 a.m. here on Good Morning Georgetown Hip Radio Network. It's Georgetown's hometown station. Hey, a lot of friends are joining us here on Facebook Live. We want to give a shout-out to those friends that are with us. Joe K. over at Georgetown Interstate. Good morning, Joe K. Man, I got to tell you, Joe Bob and his staff, amazing folks over there, picking up people right now for their auto repair. I saw a lot of it floating around on social media. You guys keep up the great work. Appreciate you. My beautiful fiance, Bridget Brennan, joining us. Michael Price, good morning to you. Appreciate Michael. The Georgetown Beard Club. By the way, we're going to have the HRN virtual dance party again on Saturday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Clear the living room, baby. Hey, you know what? Clear the kitchen this time. Quit clearing the living room. Let's clear the kitchen. Maybe do a little dancing in the kitchen. Move it around every week. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah.
Just move it around.
Move it around.
How
about out in the garage?
Yeah, do it in the garage.
In the backyard.
People, if they were just tuning in, they're like, what are they talking about? Do it in the garage. Go to the kitchen. We're talking about the HRN virtual dance party. Come on, everybody. It happens every Friday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Hip Radio Network. You call in, you text us, you tell us what songs you'd like, you hashtag it HRN Virtual Dance Party, and you win prizes. Carlos from Arthur Murray Dance Center won that on last Friday. They've got some free advertising coming their way here pretty soon. So that's what you do. It's on Friday. You just tune in every Friday. So good morning to all of our friends, Brian Burkhart, Chris Courtney. Hey, Chris Courtney's joining us this morning. That is incredible. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning.
Stephen Giorgio. Dude, Stephen, what's up, my friend? If you're still listening, I got a funny story with Stephen. So back in the day, Steven and I went to school together. Steven's a good dude, man. And back in the day, in fact, Steven, I've got a picture of us in junior high that I've got to dig up, and maybe one morning when you're on, I'll show it on the screen. It's hilarious. It's when we were little kiddos at Georgetown Junior High. But my dad invited Steven over, but we were all hanging out at the house, and my dad said, "Oh, bring your friend over." And I love my dad, and my dad is an amazing cook. He really is. But this day, I don't know what he was thinking, because he told Steven's mom, he's like, "Oh, well, I'll cook these boys something to eat." Dude, he cooked us macaroni and cheese. And Steven started choking on the macaroni and cheese, and my dad and I thought he was joking, and he wasn't. Steven, good morning to you, man. I've shared that before, but it's been a while. Martin Salyer joining us from Control Panels USA. I hope you're doing okay, Martin. Good to hear from you. Lauren Zenner-Williams, good morning to you, Lauren. Your mom and dad are awesome. They hooked me up with some material the other day to help with some of those masks. Trey Harris joining us. Good morning, Trey. Bubba Vidier, good morning, Bubba. Susan Eisenhower joining us as well this morning. Our very first sponsor here on HRN. Always good to see you, Susan, as she does great work here in Georgetown with health and wellness insurance. Appreciate you, Susan. John Lewis joining us. Good morning to you. Brian Harris, what's up, Brian? Bill Dagley joining us. Good morning to you, Billy. Albert Padilla with the Georgetown Beard Club, baby. And I mentioned that earlier, the Georgetown Beard Club, because they are sponsoring the virtual dance party here on Friday, Chris.
Oh, cool.
We got sponsorships available for that. By the way, it's only $50. We've got 5 of them remaining. So maybe you say, look, I can't do the monthly sponsorship, but I can sponsor the virtual dance party once in a while. It's only $50. If your business would like to get some exposure, we need sponsors to help make that happen. We have to pay royalty fees and all that fun stuff. But more importantly, what we want to do is promote your business. And that show reaches about 100 people a week. It's a lot of fun. We started it. This will be our 3rd consecutive week. And so if you would like to sponsor that and gain some exposure, we'll put you on our website. We'll give you a little bit of shout out, of course, and throughout the HRN virtual dance party. So if you'd like to do that, it's $50, and we would love to be able to promote you. Rudy Jimenez joining us. Good morning. Salinas Romy. Gene Edmondson, one of our awesome sponsors here. And I'll get through these in a minute, but I always want to give people hello on Facebook. That's what you get if you watch on Facebook. Gene Edmondson over at Gene's Auto Repair is one of our awesome sponsors here. And you can visit him online at genesautorepair.net. It's Gene's Auto Repair and Service Center. Appreciate you, Gene, and your sponsorship for helping to not only make this show possible, but to help keep HRN going and flowing. Mr. Ken's Guitars, join us. Good morning to you. And Brian was saying, hey, Chris, Brian was saying, go Spurs, go. Way to support the champs. I've been wearing a Spurs shirt. This is my 3rd day in a row that I've wore a different Spurs shirt, by the way. And Brian's the only one to notice that, I believe. So I'm just trying to represent San Antonio, man. You know what I'm saying, Chris?
Hey,
do you like San Antonio? Have you been? Do you go down there?
I've been to San Antonio.
You like it?
It's okay.
Okay, all right. Well, it's all right.
I like this area best of all.
Well, that's okay. You know, you got to love where you're at. That's okay. I love Georgetown.
Right.
But I'm going to straight up tell you right now, dude. Straight up tell you, Chris. If I had to move to another city, it would be San Antonio, Texas. I love the Riverwalk. I love the people. I mean, I love everything here. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to go somewhere else, that's another area that I just truly love. It's beautiful, man.
It is. Yeah.
Go down to the Riverwalk to margaritas, even though I don't drink in margaritas anymore. I don't know what I would do. I guess I'd feed the pigeons.
They have a better freeway system.
Yeah, no joke. I'd feed the pigeons down there. Wayne Filer joining us, WayneFiler.com. He's another one of our amazing sponsors here on HRN. Appreciate you, Wayne. Again, it's WayneFiler.com. Eric Allen joining us. Good morning. June Cannon. Matt McRobert, what is up, my friend? Matt McRobert, a kicker at Sam Houston State University, Chris, and I had a podcast. I thought it was just going to be a podcast. It ended up being a whole newspaper article in Huntsville yesterday morning. My friend Josh Criswell there works for the local Huntsville Item newspaper, and he just interviewed me about my first year calling Division I sports there at Sam Houston State. And I mentioned one of the coolest things about broadcasting, especially broadcasting sports, is just it's not the actual the motion of broadcasting that I enjoy. It is meeting people and talking to people and hearing the stories and telling those stories. And I had said in that podcast, I said, it's really cool because you never know who you're going to meet. And I said, you know, I got to know the kicker for Sam Houston State, and I chat with him every once in a while, and he chimes into our show. So that is pretty cool. And just hearing his story and growing up in Australia. And so I appreciate you joining us, Matt. I hope you're doing okay, man. I mentioned you in a podcast, by the way, dude. Nancy Zinner joining us. Good morning. Sean Gabriel joining us. Good morning. Joshua Harris at the Oak Ridge Disciple House. I'm just going to start singing all these names, Chris. What do you think? Joshua Harris. Jason Worth. Good morning. Yeah. Danny Vasquez. What's going on, my friend? Everybody's starting to do. The numbers are dropping. Like we're at negative 20 listeners right now. Jillian Zappa. Good morning, Jillian. I went to school with Jillian. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing okay. Mr. C.T. Evans. We got a few more here. We're going to get through this. Patty Wright, good morning. Good morning to my beautiful fiance, Bridget Brennan. Love you. Sherry Sally, good morning. Jose Franco, good morning to you. Stephen Giorgio said he wants to see a before shot of that picture. I wish I had one, man. Don't have it. Jim Wilson, good morning to you. Jim also texting us this morning. Good morning to you. Patty Wright, thank you for saying that. Lori Anderson, Walter Stoops in San Antonio, Texas, good morning. Jose was saying San Antonio is awesome, by the way. Stephen Giorgio was saying that never gets old, talking about that macaroni choking. Yeah, he said, that's right. He says, we were over at your house coaching those little kids at football. I remember that because we lived in a neighborhood. I lived in a neighborhood that had so many kids everywhere. We started a club back in the day, and Stephen came over that evening. We were coaching these kids how to play football. I think Stephen was kind of ordering them around. And he was I forgot about this. He said you rigged up an announcer's booth back then in the yard, and I did. I made an announcer's booth. Straight up, I forgot all about that, dude. That was the passion when I was a little kid. I remember making an announcer's booth out of this old tin and some old 4x4 posts that I had, and I made an announcer's booth, and I had a little like cheap Play School little microphone cassette recorder that had the speaker on it, and that was the announcing booth.
It's in your blood, Rob.
Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you to everybody that's joining us here this morning. Hey, Chris, I wanted to talk about something. We joke around a lot. I also wanted to say good morning to Brandon Godfrey, good friend of mine down in Southeast Texas, and Katie listening in this morning. And also thanks for the birthday wish yesterday, Brandon. I didn't see that yesterday, so thank you for that, man. He sent me a happy birthday yesterday. Said listening to us this morning. They're supposed to have some serious weather down there today, and Brandon and I, back in the day, used to get in our car and go do a little storm chasing. In fact, the only time that I ever came across anything remotely close to a tornado, I captured the developing funnel in Andice, Texas. It eventually touched down, but it was so dark that we couldn't see it. And the camera that I had, I allowed just enough light in to where you could see part of that funnel cloud. I've got to get that photo. I can't find it anymore. But it was almost pitch black, but there was still just enough sunset, Chris, that I was able to open up the lens a little bit and let some light in, and you could actually see the funnel cloud. And then we would find out the next day that a tornado did touch down in Andice and damaged some small property around there. We were chasing that. I was chasing that, man, back in the day. So that was the only – my buddy Jeff Mangum does that, and he is amazing at storm chasing. So, it's some pretty cool stuff. Hey, I wanted to talk about something this morning. We don't have a guest on the show, but this is something that is very serious this morning. And we want to help out where we can, Chris. I know that we focus a lot on Georgetown. That's what this show is about. We want to talk about our friends here in Georgetown, but we have neighbors in other communities as well here in Williamson County. And my cousin had sent me a message, and I hope that he doesn't mind me reading this, but he was asking me if there's any way that I could talk about this. It was a friend of his that grew up with a single dad, saying that I've known him since middle school, just an outstanding, great guy, always at Gerald Sports and events helping out. Basically, there's a GoFundMe that has been put together for a gentleman by the name of Mike Hart. And I wanted to encourage people this morning, if you can help Mike, he needs help today. Especially friends up in Gerald know Mike. Mike fell from a ladder 4 weeks ago.
Ooh.
He has been in ICU. And man, in home inspection, you got to be careful climbing that ladder, Chris.
It's scary.
Mike fell from a ladder 4 weeks ago. He has been in ICU since that time on a ventilator. And just the heartbreaking news is his kidneys quit working. He was placed on dialysis and then placed on ECMO to help his lungs. And this is serious.
Wow.
He's making a little bit of progress each day, but he has a very long road ahead. So folks have reached out. Tari Kolar is the one organizing this fundraiser. She is asking for assistance to help with keeping everything going while he is down. She said, all help is appreciated and God bless you. So this morning, some of you may know Mike. My cousin knows him and knows his son, and I just wanted to put that out over the air this morning because, look, we've got an opportunity. I know that there's a lot of people hurting with a lot of things. But this is one. This is a neighbor, a friend of ours, just to the north of us in Gerald. And I wanted to just make sure that we talk about Mike. And so, again, Mike needs some help. They're trying to raise, it looks like $6,000 on GoFundMe. They've raised a little over $1,300 so far. And so if you are on Facebook Live this morning, I'm going to post the link to that. And if you just go to GoFundMe, you can type in Mike Hart and search for that, and you should be able to find. I've never, Chris, I've always had direct links to the GoFundMes. I've never searched for one, so I'm going to try this right now. I'm going to GoFundMe.com. I'm wondering if there is a search feature where you can search for I don't see one here. There it is. So at the top left, it says search. And I'm just going to type in Mike Hart and see nothing came up there. It's one thing. Let me try it again. Mike Hart, Mike H-A-R-T. Yeah. So if you go, so it does work. If you go to GoFundMe.com, for those of you that are listening on the app and you want to help out Mike and his family, go to GoFundMe.com, and at the top left, click on search, and then type in Mike Hart, and you can help out Mike. This is a man that was really active in Gerald for so many years. It says Stratford, Oklahoma here on his GoFundMe, but someone that was connected to Gerald and did a lot for that community. So if you can help out Mike this morning, I promised my cousin that we'd get that out over the air, and so we wanted to help him out, man. That's scary. You don't think about climbing up a ladder, Chris, because you've done it so much now. When you go up a ladder, do you even think about it now, or are you just kind of like, oh, I'm going up a ladder?
No, I think about it every time. I make sure that my ladder is where it should be, and I have my proper equipment on, because I don't want to fall off a roof.
Yeah, it's scary, man. I get up on my roof every once in a while, and I had a ladder back there, and man, I climb up that thing, but I think about it, but it's just kind of like, oh, I've done this before, no big deal. I make sure it's secure and all that, and you can have the most secure ladder and still fall and have an accident. That's
oh yeah.
You just got to be careful, and it's like electricity. My dad always taught me, and an electrician here in town that passed away that was my dad's best friend, Henry Vasquez. He taught my dad, and then my dad taught me. He said, always be scared of electricity.
Oh yeah.
Always be scared of it. Yep. And he said, I don't say that in like a weird way, but he said be scared of it, because if you're scared of it, you're going to be mindful of it, and you're not going to put your hands where they don't belong.
You're going to be respectful of it.
Yeah, be respectful of it. And that's exactly what he said. He said when you're scared, you're respectful. How many know when you're scared, you're respectful sometimes? How many know?
Yep.
So, yep. Hey, we're talking to Courtney this morning. Thank you again if you can help out Mike. I posted that link there. And Cole, thank you for bringing that to our attention here. By the way, if you have anything like that on this show, if there's somebody close and that's in this community that may have been from this community, that lived in this community, that has worked in this community, I'm talking about not just Georgetown, but I'm talking about areas throughout our county, you can always let us know. And we'll do our best to provide that information over the air, because that is what this show is all about. It's all about our Georgetown community and our friends around this community and helping out. And we try to do that every single show when we can, Chris.
Yep.
Hey, today's the national day of a lot of things. And yesterday it wasn't really a good national day. Several things today. I think one of my favorite today is, I'm looking through these. It's National Cherish an Antique Day, Chris. National Cherish an Antique Day. I enjoy that.
I guess I better call up my mom.
Do you have any antiques at your house? Anything cool?
Yeah, actually I do. I have a 1906 roll top desk from the Marlboro Company.
From the cigarette Marlboro Company? And it's a desk?
Antique oak roll top desk.
Is it red and white? Like, does it have red and white, the color?
No, it's oak, tiger oak.
Marlboro used to make desks?
No, it was in their factory in an office.
Oh, I got you.
They had put their metal. You know how nowadays when you have an office or equipment, you're always logging it and putting your serial number on it, or whatever. It was a brass placard, a little tiny one on the inside that says Marlboro Company 1906.
I talked on this show just a few days ago about my great-grandmother, and she left me her Singer sewing machine. Because when I was a kid, I've already been honest about this.
Those are cool.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to sew on that thing with her. And that's why I've always enjoyed that. And my grandma had one as well. My My mom sews as well. She doesn't have the Singer sewing machine, but here's the deal. My great-grandma gave me that. It's at my mom's house right now, and one day when Bridget and I get married and I get things around the house situated, I'd like to bring that to the house. My mom told me we could. But that is that's the coolest antique that I have, and it probably still works.
Does it have the foot pedal?
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's got the foot pedal. It's got the original little band that goes around. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And when you open it up, you lift the top of it and the sewing machine pops up. It
pops up.
Still right there, man. Well, each year,
cool.
the national, this, by the way, from nationaldaycalendar.com. I had Ken singing that yesterday, the .com for us. Each year, National Cherish an Antique Day encourages us to seek the deeper story. Man, this is one of those sentences that's made for radio. You ready for this, Chris?
I'm ready.
Made for radio. Shoot. Each year, National Cherish an Antique Day encourages us to seek the deeper story behind the treasures and family heirlooms. That's just a good radio sentence.
Sounds like Paul Harvey.
Good day. Observed annually on April the 9th, the day reminds us that sometimes there is more to antiques than just a dollar sign. Do you have something special that was passed down from your parents, grandparents, or great-grandparents? This day provides us an opportunity to learn the story and the history behind our treasured antiques. It's an excellent time to record the provenance and preserve it for safekeeping. Over the years, family members collect items from their travels or that remind them of a moment of their past. They may be cherished because of personal or emotional connections. Often a colorful story tells how it came into the family, making it even more valuable as an heirloom. Here's a story. Chris, you may discover, and those of you listening, you may discover a story like this. So I ask you this morning, what do you have in your possession that may have been passed down as an heirloom? What antique do you have? When Grandma explained she stood in line for hours to have her copy of her favorite book signed by the author, only to have the author stop signing it right before it was her turn, you might begin to understand. And yet, she has a signed copy? Then she goes on to explain that Grandpa went back the next day and stood in line again and had the book signed for her. He then tucked an engagement ring between the pages so that it poked out the top of the book and gave it to her on one knee. There's so many stories that are incredible like that. And that's
awesome.
It's so cool to have those kind of things. Is there anything in your family? I know you talked about the desk. Is there like an heirloom or anything in your family?
Yeah.
Talk about
Talk
about that, man.
I have, when I got married to my first wife, on my wedding day, my grandfather handed me his father's pocket watch that he used on the railroad.
That's cool.
So I have that.
My grandpa worked for Missouri Pacific, Mopac, which, by the way, that's how Mopac got its name in Austin. If you didn't know, it's because the Missouri Pacific Railway runs right in the middle of it. Right through it.
Right.
I never knew that until about 10 years ago. That is why Mopac is called Mopac. It's the Missouri Pacific Railway. My grandpa worked for Mopac Lines for a very long time. He was a clerk down in San Antonio, Texas. And that's why I love San Antonio so much. So, yeah, there's a little history for you. Austin, Texas, this morning. Hey, today is also National Winston Churchill Day. That's pretty cool.
Great man.
I didn't know that they had that. Here's one for the food lovers. It's National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. I've never heard of a Chinese almond cookie. This one's interesting. Let's look into this, Chris, because I'm interested now. Oh, those look
You've never
good.
had a Chinese almond cookie?
No, never have.
Oh.
April the 9th recognizes this tasty treat as National Chinese Almond Cookie Day, again from nationaldaycalendar.com. Adorned with an almond, they're delicious in almond flavor and slightly crunchy texture are sure to make you smile. Are you smiling this morning? A variety of recipes.
Give me a cookie.
Yep, there you go. Come on. A variety of recipes offers different processes and ingredients for making these delicious cookies. One fact does remain. I'm going to straight up tell you right now, these cookies are delicious. I'm not, because I don't even know what they taste like. These cookies, along with several others on the counter, they're an excellent serving with tea. They not only you dip them in tea?
That sounds gross.
Yeah, it says they not only dip well, but their flavor pairs well with tea also. Add them to other cookies if you're planning to serve a small tea. Would you like to come over for a tea party, Christopher?
Sure.
I used to always say that. Would you like to come over for a little bit of a tea party?
I have to work my pinky in that one, you know.
Yeah, you got to, man. Makes it taste better, especially with wine. When you get the pinky going, it like does something to get the. I think what the pinky does is it connects a nerve to your nose, and it just helps the fragrance go better. That's how.
Okay,
it works.
I'll go with that.
I have no idea. Anyways, hope you have a National Chinese Almond Cookie Day. Hey, today is also this one is very important. I had no idea about this. Today is the National Former Prisoner of War Recognition Day. That is pretty cool. I had no idea about this. National Former Prisoner of War Recognition Day today honors the courageous men and women who have endured brutal treatment at the hands of their captors. As a result, they've also suffered separation from family and displayed incredible endurance and faith during their captivity. On this day in 1942, the largest number of U.S. forces were captured by Japanese troops in the Bataan Peninsula in the Philippines. After battling through extreme conditions and prolonged battles, the captured troops were forced to march 65 miles to the prison camp. Without medical attention, food, or water, thousands died. The mistreatment continued for those who survived the brutal journey. In the compounds, deep in the unfamiliar jungle, the hardships, brutality, and suffering lasted more than 2 years for those who could survive. Since the Revolutionary War, over 500,000 service members have been captured. This number does not reflect those lost or never recovered. However, each POW endures conditions much like the ones described above. These heroes deserve a day of recognition. How do you observe today? Well, you're seeing a trending hashtag on social media. It's the little pound sign or the hashtag Former POW Recognition Day. Government officials, veterans, civic, and private organizations observe the day with ceremonies and events. Some states require organizations and government facilities to fly the Prisoner of War Missing in Action flag on this day. We've seen that before.
Mm-hmm.
You can honor former POWs by helping to organize events. Ensure your organization flies the POW MIA flag. Volunteer to help a veteran organization. You can learn more by visiting the American Legion, their website at legion.org/POWMIA. I had no idea about that. And this started, Chris, in 1984. It was a movement led by former POWs, began seeking a day recognizing former prisoners of war each year. In 1988, Congress approved this legislation, setting April 9th to commemorate the day the tragic number of captives were taken prisoner on Bataan. President Ronald Reagan proclaimed National Former Prisoners of War Recognition Day on April the 1st, 1988, through Presidential Proclamation number 5788. He set the observance for April the 9th, 1988. Since then, through legislation and presidential proclamations, the observance carries on. That is why I like to look at the National Day in history. Because, Chris, I'm going to be 100% honest, I never knew that existed until right now.
Neither did I.
Yeah, and I think that can be said for a lot of our listeners. That's why we talk about this, friends. So we just want to honor those today, as it is National Former Prisoner of War Recognition Day. Hey, there's a couple of other ones here that we'll talk about. Chris, there's one that you're going to be really excited about. I'll get to that next. This is National Name, not right now, but after this one. This is also National Name Yourself Day. Chris, if you could name yourself, what would you name yourself? I just want to ask you that this morning, putting you on the spot. What would you name yourself?
I had Bones.
Bones. Hey,
Bones.
Can we know why, or is that not radio worthy?
No. That was my nickname given to me at my old job by my boss, Kirk.
Bones. Where did that come from? Bones.
Well,
what up,
we
Bones?
called my boss Kirk, Captain Kirk.
I gotcha.
And then we started joking back and forth really sarcastically, and he started calling me Bones. And then other managers I used to work with at Kinko started calling me Bones. And to this day, when I call up a lot of people from my old job, they call me Bones.
Well, it's National Name Yourself Day, Bones. On April the 9th is, of course, when this day. I want to hear this. I'm going to read this. Again, nationaldaycalendar.com. If you've ever wondered what it would be like to have a different name, this would be the day to find out. Whether you like your name or not, this day is about having fun with a different name. Now, of course, legally, you can't sign your name differently on this day, although some people may try. Actors, they get to try on new names all the time. While they're at it, they also pretend to be another personality altogether. Trying on a new name can be fun. Just ask Bones, our guest today. For those who are frequently being called by the wrong name, Try on the other name for size. Does mom call you by a sibling's name? Or is your name Greg, but you're forever being called a Craig? My real name is Robin. Did you know that?
No.
Tweet, 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 tweet. That's my real name. And, in fact, a friend of mine's grandpa used to call me Robin Redbreast all the time. Hey, Robin Redbreast, what are you doing, buddy? Robin Redbreast? But I go by Rob, and a lot of people call me Ron, and I don't understand that. My name is nowhere. How's Rob is nowhere close to Ron? N and B. Those are two different sounds altogether. B, N. Do you hear the difference in that, Chris? N, B. So how do you go from Rob to Ron? I have no idea.
I don't know.
And then my name sometimes will be spelled with two B's. And I've never ever in a million readings of names have ever seen Rob ever with two B's. Have you? I've never. And people put two B's on my name all the time.
Do you think they do that because of your last name?
Probably because of two P's. I have no idea. So anyways, today, why don't you adopt a name that avoids these pitfalls? Mom really does love you, even if she calls you by your sister's name. How do you observe today? Well, you pick yourself a new name. Whether you create a nickname for I just got a funny text. I'm gonna announce it here in a minute. Pick yourself a new name, whether you create a nickname from your current name or try an entirely new name on for size. Be sure to share the change. Make a name tag. When you're attending a virtual meeting, introduce yourself by your new name. How many know right now we're doing a lot of virtual meetings, so why don't you introduce yourself by your new name? Share the results using hashtag National Name Yourself Day to post on social media. So Brandon, who's texting us a while ago, my friend down in Southeast Texas, he just sent me a message, and I was laughing. My dad, his name is Brandon, okay? Somehow, my dad likes to give people nicknames. Somehow he came up for Brandon the nickname of Bernie. Bernie. How did he get Bernie out of Brandon?
I don't know. Was he burning something?
No, I just call him Bernie. And my dad would always be, hey, Bernie, what's going on, Bernie? Hey, Bernie, what are you doing, Bernie?
It sounded like your dad was a fun guy.
Yeah, it was. I have no idea. He called me Dooge growing up.
Dooge?
Calls my sister Dinky. Calls my brother Bub. So, he has nicknames for everybody. I remember everybody. Well,
That's awesome.
Bernie, thanks for letting us know what's going on, Bernie. He called a friend of mine growing up. This is a little skinny dude. He called him Pete. Hey, Pete.
Skinny Pete.
Had another friend who was a little heavier, and he called him Biggin. Hey, Biggin, what's going on? I'm like, he had names for It's funny. I've never thought about the names my dad has had for people. Calls my mom Tootie. Mom probably wouldn't appreciate that.
I don't know. I don't even want to know why.
Yeah, he's got names. It's just, it's funny. And he calls my mom's mom, my grandma, calls her Ma.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's just...
He's just having fun, man. Life's got to be fun.
I remember every single one of those. And he used to call up people, and he would prank people and make up this accent and this name, and it was hilarious because he would prank people all the time on the phone. Growing up, my dad would always get on the phone and prank call people, his friends, and they would believe him. They wouldn't know that it was him at first. And he would just say the random, and I guess that's where I get that from, because my dad always said, boy, you better quit joking around. That'll come back to you one day. I said, well, Dad, you're the one that taught me. Dudes, Pete, Tootie, whatever you want. All right, here's the day today that Chris Courtney is so excited about celebrating. Very excited about celebrating. Here is what... Hold on here. Give me 1 second. Let's see here. Yeah, Rob Kitty's saying I get Ron all the time. Here is what... Hold on. This is what you're looking forward to today, Chris. National Unicorn Day. There you go. It is just for you, Chris. Today is National Unicorn Day.
I'm so excited.
Here we go. Hey, you know what, though? My niece is an excellent drawer. I think she's 12, and she is just an amazing artist. And she can draw unicorns and just all sorts of, I guess the word is majestic creatures. I mean, she is amazing. She drew me for Christmas this year. She drew me a picture of my dog, and I have it hanging up when you walk in the house. She is amazing.
Awesome.
National Unicorn every year celebrates the mythical horse-like creature with a single pointed horn growing from the center of its forehead. Unicorns have been a popular mythical creature since the ancient Greek times, when people believed that they lived in exotic India. While they were once considered to be fierce, powerful animals, many now see them as a symbol of love, purity, enhancement, and magic. They also appear in many movies and cartoons as magical creatures. Both adults and children find a fascination with unicorns. They also continue to find their way into fantasy novels alongside other mythical creatures. Chris, I got to ask you, how are you going to celebrate National Unicorn Day today?
I don't have an answer for that. Dress my 100-pound lab up, put a little horn on his head, and prance him around the neighborhood, maybe?
Yeah, you could do that, man. Hey, some news. We'll get to some news. We've had some fun here this morning with the National Day today. More research on the coronavirus's arrival in New York, a virus-related ceasefire in Yemen, and Bernie Sanders withdrawing from the presidential race. This from the New York Times. We get these updates. Glimmers among hope amid a rising toll. We start today with a note of cautious optimism. This is from Dan Barry, a writer for the New York Times. The world began this week to see a small but encouraging signs that concerted efforts to drastically change human behavior, to suspend daily routines by staying at home, are slowing the insidious spread of the novel coronavirus, which has killed tens of thousands and sickened more than 1 million others across several continents. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said on Wednesday that he was starting to see some glimmers of hope, but epidemiologists warned that a return to pre-pandemic life won't happen safely anytime soon. In other developments this morning, virus-related death reached new highs in New York and New Jersey for the second straight day on Wednesday, even as other figures suggested that the outbreak in those states was beginning to slow. There's also new research that shows the virus began to circulate in the New York area by mid-February. That is weeks before the first confirmed case, brought mainly by travelers from Europe, not Asia. The Labor Department is set to release its weekly tally of new unemployment claims today, a number that is again expected to be in the millions. Chris, I got to tell you, I heard news yesterday that over 30% of Americans who live in apartments did not pay their rent last month. That is a sign of things to come, friends, and I'm not trying to spread bad news. I'm just straight up telling you, 30% of those that live in apartments, 30% of those who live in apartments did not pay their rent last month. I would almost say that is probably the same for mortgage holders as well. I don't know those numbers. I'm not an expert. But again, that I would say that's got to be pretty much in line with the same that are paying for mortgages as well.
I'm just afraid of what the recourse of that's all going to be.
It's going to be tough. Well, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued new guidelines on when and how essential employees can go back to work, even if they have been exposed to infected people. Citing the pandemic, Saudi Arabia announced a new ceasefire in the war in Yemen starting today, which would pave the way toward ending the 5-year conflict. Separately, as many as 150 members of the Saudi royal family are believed to have contracted the virus. Those are just some of your headlines. Another one here, seismologists have been able to hear the Earth's natural vibrations more clearly as the everyday hum of humanity has grown quieter. So it's weird because people aren't out moving, and now seismologists are able to physically see that because people aren't moving around. Isn't that crazy?
It's weird.
And a lot of it's to do with electricity usage falling in the U.S. It's fallen sharply in the past month, a sign of decreased economic activity. So those are just some of your headlines here this morning. Bernie Sanders, of course, out of the presidential race. That's going to pave the way now for Joe Biden. He is faced with the challenge, though, of trying to unite the Democratic Party and winning the support of the younger, more liberal voters who powered the Vermont Senator's campaign. Starting today, the Biden campaign is expected to highlight a series of policy positions that show how he has moved closer to Mr. Sanders on health care and other issues. In dropping out Wednesday, Mr. Sanders said, quote, "I cannot in good conscience continue to mount a campaign that cannot win and which would interfere with the important work required of all of us in this difficult hour." The pandemic has turned the primary race into less of an ideological contest between the Democrats and refocused their attention on defeating President Trump in November. So those are some of your headlines this morning across the globe. Of course, you can keep up to date with the latest U.S. news and more here on Hip Radio Network. Just download our app, Hip Radio Network, and we'll keep you updated. Chris, we're going to step aside for a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap things up. We've got about 15 more minutes. Stay with us, friends. This is Good Morning Georgetown here on Hip Radio Network. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
Awesome.
friends. Good Morning Georgetown continues here on Hip Radio Network Georgetown. It is your hometown station. Again, appreciate everybody joining us here this morning as we continue to rock and roll here. We've got about 15 more minutes. We may be joined, trying to get him in here in just a minute. We may be joined by a good friend of mine, Garrick Long, down in Huntsville, Texas as well. He said that he was going to try to join us here this morning for just a little bit and check in with him. I'd like to hear how things in Huntsville are going. We're talking this morning to Chris Courtney of Courtney Home Inspections. He is our Thursday co-host here on Good Morning Georgetown. And Chris, enjoy having you here every week. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It's a good time.
Well, tell us a little bit more about, we were talking earlier, and those that may just be joining us, just tell us a little bit more about the real estate world and how things, from your perspective, have been holding up so far.
So far, we still have everyone out there buying houses. I'm just as busy as I was before this all happened. So, it doesn't seem to be hurting the real estate market much here in Austin. Now, Austin's always been a very strong market for the past few years, and it looks like it's going to continue to do so. So don't be afraid to buy your house. Continue on with your new construction. I know there's a lot of people out there who are losing jobs and worried about money, and that's understandable. But for those who can and still want to buy those houses, they're out there, and the mortgage rates are really good right now.
And Chris, I know you're a member of a lot of networking organizations, specifically BNI. How have those organizations been able to continue operating and passing referrals along and those kind of things?
Well, we still have our BNI meeting every week. We do it again on Zoom, where we have 40 plus people on the video call, and we have a structured meeting that is run by the president, and we basically continue to do our thing, refer clients when we can. I had 10 referrals last week, and I got 3 for this week. So, these networking group is really helpful on helping small businesses or businesses who are struggling to maintain some sort of income and sales.
Yeah, well, hopefully, things will get better sooner than later. I think we're still a couple of weeks away from everything kind of peaking out, and then once we get through that, we should hopefully see things really rebounding. We have an opportunity here on HRN where we've been promoting a lot of businesses that are open for business, and if you are a business owner and you want, and maybe you need some help, maybe you're like, hey, I don't really need a whole lot, I just want people to know that I'm open. You can fill out our form at hrngeorgetown.com/open. Again, that is hrngeorgetown.com/open, and just let us know that you are in business. Fill that form out. Let us know what your hours are. It's all on the form, and then we will post that on our website at hrngeorgetown.com/open. It's right there on the website, so it is extremely easy to find that, and you'll be able to connect to that. Trying to get Garrick connected here. I'm just waiting to see if he is connected, so that's what the little bit of the delay is here. By the way, if you're a business who needs help, though, if you're like, man, I really need help, we're putting together an online auction that's going to take place in May. You can fill out our form online at hrngeorgetown.com/support. That is if you're a business that needs help, hrngeorgetown.com/support. If you are someone or even a business who wants to donate an item, visit hrngeorgetown.com/auction. And again, I'm not sure if Garrick is able to connect just yet. Yep, there he is. We got Garrick down there. Garrick, can you hear us this morning, Garrick?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
There he is. Hey, I like that. I like that Sam Houston State hat going on there. Garrick. I said Derek. There. I was talking about that earlier.
Come on, you haven't made a mistake in 9 months.
We got Derek joy. It's Garrick Long in Huntsville. Hey, you're in a whole new setup this morning, by the way. You're not in the sewing room.
No, I'm not in the sewing room. The sewing room has been dismantled a little bit.
I'm a little sad. I kind of like the sewing room. You know me, man. I'm starting to get into sewing pretty good.
The sewing room's really nice. So my like we talked about, my wife's an EMT. She's in quarantine, or not quarantine. Let me rephrase. She's in self-isolation in our master bedroom. So we moved majority of the sewing room to our master. So she's got a full setup in there so she can be isolated.
Well, that's good. Well, and how is she doing, man? Because your wife is involved heavily there in Walker County and working with the EMT. So talk a little bit about that and how things are going there in Huntsville, man.
So we have, I think, 15 confirmed cases here in town. But for her, it was more of a self-isolation because she did come in contact with someone and she had no PPE. Her whole truck didn't. And so she was no mask, no PPE.
Wow.
You're correcting me from the corner? She's correcting me from the corner. Staring at me. But she came in contact with someone who ended up testing positive. And so her whole truck, all three of the EMTs on the truck, they had to be self-isolated for 14 days. So she's on day 6 of that 14 days.
Man, and so how does that? Chris Courtney's joining us. I got him back on the video as well. Chris is our Thursday co-host here on the show. How is that affecting you and your family? I mean, are you having to go into quarantine now? I mean, how does that work?
No, I'm still good. I'm just running the household. My bed is now the recliner.
Okay.
So,
man,
I'm doing everything from meals, bathing children, getting them dressed, and then bringing her food. Bringing offerings is what we like to call it, so that way I can keep her happy in there because she's going a little stir crazy.
Oh yeah, I bet, man.
I bet, yeah.
Well, Chris is joining us. Have you met Chris before on the show?
This is his first.
Well, Chris, this
how
is
you doing,
Garrick Long.
Garrick
with the G. Garrick Long.
Garrick.
All the time, man. I'm used to it.
Hey.
So, Chris, Garrick produces a lot of my sports broadcast on KSAM 101.7 back in Huntsville, and that's how I got to know Garrick, and he'll chime in on the show from time to time. He's a good dude.
Awesome. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice meeting you too, man.
So besides that, I mean, you said that there's over like 15 cases there in Huntsville, or is that within Walker County, all the county?
Walker County.
Okay.
That's Walker County, and then 3 of them have graduated out. So, but how they're counting the numbers is the numbers stay the same. They'll just notify you if they've graduated out or not.
And how is the medical systems there in Huntsville, in that area? The hospital there, are they able to keep up? Are they having a lot of needs that aren't being met? How are things there in your community?
I actually spoke to the hospital the other day, and they were actually doing pretty awesome. I know you work in Harris County, sweetie, but I'm pretty in tune with Walker County. Thank you. Love you. She loves to chime in. So she's in Harris County.
I'm sorry, I kept saying Walker County. That's my bad.
No, that's okay, because I'm in tune with what we're doing here in Walker.
I got you. Okay, I got
she
you.
Works in Harris, so she's in a hotbed down there.
Yeah, man.
But I actually spoke with HMH yesterday, and they've actually got a really pretty cool system set up at their hospital. So there's only one way in, one way out right now at the emergency room entrance. And so what they're doing is that starting at 10 o'clock each day, they have drive-by testing there. So that way patients who think that they might be symptomatic with it, they're able to drive by, they're able to get tested while still in their car. And then if need be, they have an exterior tent set up to where they can move those patients and still treat them without having to bring them fully into the hospital.
And when you're talking about HMH, that's Huntsville Memorial, correct?
Correct.
And I knew that hospital was going through a little bit of a change over there. I don't want to say too much, but it was public news. I believe it was maybe facing some bankruptcy or things like that. How have things rebounded for them?
So they have a new management company for it now. It's a company out of Plano. But that's about as far as I've gotten with the news on it because all of this is taken over. I just know that they had to find a new financial backing for it. And they found one out of Plano for it.
What else is going on in the county there? What are things in Huntsville and Walker County? What precautions are being taken? Are you guys under a mandatory lockdown as well? Or kind of tell us about that.
So I know Governor Greg Abbott set up the stay-at-home order. I know Walker County is going to be doing their own here soon. But the counties around us, Leon County, Trinity County, they've already established that. It's actually weird. My wife and I were driving to Madisonville last week before all this happened. And when we crossed into Madison County, which is on the way to Leon County, our phones went off of like an emergency notification letting us know about the stay at home. So I found that to be pretty cool. As of right now, we're still under curfew. Be home by midnight, can leave at 5. So.
And you were working, I believe, at a retail store for some time. Is that right? Is that still open? What's going on with that?
We're being labeled as essential employees.
And how are the people that are coming in there? Are they taking precautions? I mean, what have you seen from customers? I know last time you were talking about people are just really close to each other and all that.
So a lot more people are coming in with masks. A lot more people are coming in with gloves. People don't know how to use the product, don't know how to use the equipment properly. So, but just the other day, lady came in with her 3 kids, probably 9, 7, and 4. And I'm just thinking, why are your kids out in public? You know?
Well, Chris, you got any questions for Garrick? You know, it's a whole different area down there in Huntsville, in that area. Just any questions from you, maybe kind of what's going on in their area?
No, not really. I'm just interested to hear what's going on in other parts of the country.
And how is if as far as down there too, I just wanted to ask you, parks, are they open? Are you seeing a lot of people down in parks and things like that?
No, the city of Huntsville, I think just yesterday, put all the parks on close. So they're actually going to be using our biggest one starting Monday. Walker County Emergency Services just got in testing kits. So they're doing a drive-by testing center at Kate Bar Ross Park.
Okay.
Well, just starting at 10 o'clock.
Just last week here in Williamson County, we only had 113 tests across the entire county. They bought 1,000 of those tests for $70, and so the county spent $70,000 on tests. So now the county's in possession of 1,000 tests, and it's just is there a demand down there for people to help and sew masks and products like they are doing here?
Oh, absolutely, dude. So I saw you sewing a mask the other day on Facebook Live. I can't begin to tell you how impressed I am with you.
It didn't turn out too good actually after the fact, but they worked, I guess.
So it's funny you talk about them. I actually have mine right here.
Oh, I like it. There's Batman. Batman.
No, let me try this again. I'm Batman. You know. So
hey, can you please say something like in a couple of sentences like that? That was awesome.
Alfred, get the Batmobile. We gotta go save Gotham.
That's pretty good.
But I'm actually wearing matching Batman socks with this right now. So I'm going to be going to work right after this with my Batman mask, and I've got Batman socks on. And I'm excited, dude.
That's cool, man. Well, let me ask you a final question. What are some of the needs of your community down there? You know, we focus a lot on taking care of our neighbors right here in our own backyard, but what's going on in your community that people may need help with?
We're still, this is probably everywhere, and this is going to sound silly, but we can't find any darn toilet paper, man. I had to talk with the Target manager. I had to find out when their trucks are coming in. They told me what time to get here. I showed up at that time, and I was able to luckily get toilet paper just for my employees at my store, man. But people need to stay home is what the needs are. You know, continue to take care of your takeout, get your food delivered, just stay home. The reason my store's still open is because we sell appliances. We sell refrigerators. Refrigerators could be mandatory if people need to keep their medicine cool. But I'll be honest with you, man, since we have people coming in for stuff like wall hasps, like, hanging equipment to hang pictures or doors or whatever. And I'm just like, guys, come on. Do you really need this right now? Is this really necessary? But
yeah,
I don't know, man.
Well, Garrick, I appreciate you joining us this morning, man, and giving us an update. We'll definitely check back in with you sometime and just try to keep things rocking and rolling. But thank you for joining us, my friend. I appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate it. Anytime you need me, I'm here for you.
Awesome.
Stay safe out there.
Thanks, Chris.
Well, that's Garrick Long joining us from Huntsville, Texas. Appreciate him being on the show for a little bit, giving us a little bit of update. We'll go back to Courtney here from Courtney Home Inspections. We got about a minute to go, Chris, and so I just wanted to give you an opportunity, a little final chatter here this morning before we sign off.
Well, I'm just going to close things up and get dressed and put my shoes and socks on and get out there and do my inspection today and get back home and hopefully not have to go anywhere for a few days. So I hate getting out and in the public because we all need to stay home. But I also know how important it is to get my client's house inspected, make sure it's safe for them to come home.
Well, Chris, appreciate you, man. It's 9 o'clock. Where can people find out more information? There may be a realtor, somebody out there joining us. I wanted to give you an opportunity, of course, to plug your business, a little about what you do and what makes you so unique and the great work that you do, man.
Well, I think the best thing that makes me unique is customer service. I do enjoy my job. I do enjoy making sure I communicate and do the best I can for my clients. You can reach me at 512-253-4480 or look me up on the web at CourtneyHomeInspection.com.
Awesome. Well, Chris, I appreciate you being here this week, man. We're
Thank you.
Looking forward to it next week. And also thank you for your sponsorship, man. It means a lot. It helps keep us rocking and rolling. And more importantly, we want to keep promoting you and getting your name out there. So keep doing what you're doing and keep it rolling, my friend.
Thank you, Rob. You too. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
You got it, buddy. Well, once again, that was Mr. Chris Courtney of Courtney Home Inspections joining us here as our Thursday co-host. And I know he's got to get busy. He's going to be busy. He's got several inspections already lined up. Did 7 already and this week, and so he'll keep rolling. Friends, we'll have this show to you every weekday morning from around 7:30 a.m. to 9 a.m., depending on guest and that, but we'll definitely always be on. Tomorrow morning, it's Lee Ortiz from Climate Control Pros as our morning co-host on Fridays. We'll be joined by Tori Clark of Spa Lux, a local business here in Georgetown, one of our sponsors, also talking about her business and ways that you can help and ways that she's helping the community as well. Make sure to join us again tomorrow. Thanks to everybody who joined us again here this morning. We'll be back bright and early tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Until then, friends, we hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, and reminding you that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other, friends. Provide a word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there this morning needs you. Good morning, Georgetown, and God bless. We'll see you tomorrow.